Uh, Morning, you sleep-deprived zombies. What's going on? Uh, this is your zombie over in Roseman, California. Weaver John C., the one with the emotional problems. Time check right now. It's 16 after 2 in the morning. It is 21st of May, 2022. Okay, so what's going on? We're going to be doing another Bellyaching, another Remember When, another things to talk about. Well, yeah, yes, we can talk about patriotism. Yeah, you heard me use that P word. I usually don't use it often, all that much. With things going on these days over the past, God knows how many, decade and a half, or more than that, people have been throwing that damn word around like crazy, like it's becoming out of fashion. Almost close to the similar pronouncing word of fashion. How about fascist? Yeah, horrible, isn't it? I'm using such words like this. I'm using such language to describe what's going on in life and what's happening. This conflict in Ukraine is still going on. Putin's still losing his mind and everything else. It's about normal. Uh, there is still conflict in the United States regarding its own identity, whether or not they want to be a Christian. They don't want to be a Christian. They want to be far right, far extreme, far out, freaky deaky. They want to be a country of respect or disrespect or ill respect. And they want to be a country that's going to be helping out people left and right, or is it going to be by themselves only and only themselves because only they're privileged? Of course, we have Supreme Courts making decisions. They still haven't made the final decision concerning about Roe v. Wade yet, but they still haven't made the final on or actually, a district judge has ruled on the Title 42, and it continues on. So we still have the border stuff going on. Yeah, aren't we having a fun time? Meanwhile, we still got the politicians still jabbering at each other of whatever kind of theories they've got going on that piss people off left and right. People haven't figured this shit out yet, have they? The problem, it's not democracy that's in danger. It's democracy, it's still working. They had problems like this, or they had their own kind of problems when they were creating the Constitution and creating our own kind of government that we want. We had several examples of how to form our own government because we had seen different models. The founding fathers had different ways they want their government to be heard, all the way up to the point we've got right now. Separation implied powers for the states to run their own, make their own rules, their own laws at this point over here, no matter how crazy the damn thing may be, but comparable to the federal and not violating federal laws. The federal laws were supposed to be the law of the land. And they had it made clear, probably with some contention in this, that they wanted separation of church and state. They didn't want Church of England. That's the problem I keep seeing these days is people forget or misplace their brains. When I keep seeing the religious right, or whatever the hell they would call themselves these days, of how they want God in everything, and they're pissed off because we have lawsuits taking God out of our own government one way or another, in facilities and in our handlings and procedures, and some procedures anyway. Other procedures they don't. They try to keep the traditions. But as long as it's not going to be ruling in that favor, they want it held where we have religion protected for all. We wanted people to worship in whatever fashion or form they want, as long as it doesn't interfere with the government functioning. That's what we wanted, the separation of church and state. We also wanted to have the freedom of speech, even in publications that we will disagree with like crazy. We will see the editorial comments and how some people are getting burned in effigy one way or another, or insulted one way or another, and yet protected under the Constitution because it's freedom of speech, and we don't want government interference over that. But there always has to be a limit of how much we have, because it might damage someone else's civil liberties or everybody else's civil liberties. And there was contention on this. I had brought this thing up a long time ago when I heard about the movie, and I had to do some studying about it years later on this thing. And I remember watching the movie when it came out in the 70s, late 70s on this one, and I never realized what the hell the damn thing was. Not until I got older and started digging into the thing and figuring it out. I'm like, oh shit. Now it dawns on me what the hell is going on. Even to this date, sometimes I'd go back into case history and look at it and remember the theatrical version of it, the one that got my attention. Skokie, Illinois. Always in my head, I always came back to that contentious point, because I know there'd be other things, but this one was the thing sticking in my head all the time, concerning about freedom of speech. No matter how ugly the situation got, the rights of man has to be protected and preserved, including the freedom of speech in our country. We cannot have anything else to break that damn thing. Because if we did, we're turning into an autocracy, where the ruling class or the ruling party or whoever's ruling says what the law is going to be, and screw the Constitution and whatever it may be in whatever form. Because they say it, they've got the money, they got the power, they got everything else, and they can say, to you too, I can do it, I have this and I have that. I have the ego, I am. We shall have God and everything, because we must have God and everything. Oh yes, we must have the Church of the United States. We must worship one only religion here, because we must have one religion. Because I am, and I am say so, and I am the ego, and I am the ruling party. I have the money, the power, and everything else. I am your elected. Yeah, that's funny. Elected, no. I am your inheritor. I am your leader. I am your master. Yeah, how theatrical can I get on that one, I swear. Especially this late at night, and not disturbing these people around here. But that's how it is these days. And we have these egos running around left and right. These little minions going, oh yes, yeah. But Believe this, believe that, believe this, believe that. We're gonna go with Siri. We're gonna go with Siri. White separation power. The whites are going to get it. Save the white race. Everybody else, screw them. We must do this. We must follow this. Yes, yes, yes. Even coming from the elected stupid leaders that states have already put into office and installed, and they think they're going to be there forever. Oh, yes, now I've made it here. Now I can get people to follow me. Sometimes I keep asking myself, do I really want to go back? Do I really want to try for Congress? No. No, report on the outside as an observer and see how things are. See how things are. I know there's a lot more to it than I would say in it. I know. I never thought I'd talk more and more about the politics these days. It's just getting crazier and crazier. Especially when you get some of the youth out there fired up, full of anger and hate, and they don't even understand the reason why. They don't understand the reason why. They like the power. They like the feeling. They like the head rush in their head. They like it too damn much. It's like a drug. It's an addicted. They're addicted to it. They think they got power in their heads. And crazy notion as it is, drives people to do the most dangerous, stupid things and takes people's lives. Boston is one of those. Then we had a church out here in California where you have political nature happening of a Chinese China versus Taiwan. Guy immigrates, finds a Taiwanese church, and wants to kill him because he is for China. And yet he immigrated over here to the United States. And this guy did murder. They got the guy. They bound him up for prosecution. He's not going to care one damn way. He's in his 60s. Says, what can they do to me? I got guns. I can do this. Well, he'll be stuck in jail for a hell of a long time unless they can deport his ass back to China, let him stay over there and yell his head off. But nope. We want our pound of flesh, so we're going to throw him through the system. And once he's processed and prosecuted and jailed up, he's going to be finding his own out there to rant and rave about his own lunacy. That he went to a church and he killed people, or tried to. The one person who stood up to him to stop him, the guy murders because of his political affiliations, because of what he's been raised under. And how are we going to be doing that to each other, I wonder? Well, it's already been demonstrated. We don't mention about the assholes now who have been doing the murdering, the mass murdering, the terrorists. We don't want to talk about them. But we got to talk about them. We have to know who these assholes are. Why? Because they're telling the same damn story that people don't want to hear, including the ones who are up in Washington right now saying, I don't want to know about the guy's name. You better know about the guy's name. Hell, in the past, we had to know more about the damn killers than anything else. We had to know about the Zodiac Killer. We had to know about the Hillside Strangler. We had to know about Son of Sam. These are guys back in my time when I'm growing up as a kid. That we had to be fearful of the Hillside Strangler. Ramirez. The schmuck actually had a damn tattoo on his forehead that nobody else likes in the first place. Neither do I. But he didn't care. He's insane. All these fuckers are insane. They dealt with regular people, but they're fucking insane. They went out and killed people. Jeffrey Dahmer. What was he? Yeah, cannibal. And then you had the Oklahoma City bombing. We had to know about those assholes. So why now we have to stop? Because we have a president that doesn't want to deal with that. We have a president that doesn't want to deal with that kind of reality that's on his watch. He doesn't want to give him credence. And now the police are following the same damn shit. I think they're dumber than dog shit. Why are we publicizing them? They don't want the names of these guys out there. Hell, they don't even want to know about the serial killers we've got going. How about that one back in the 1800s that we actually had made a poem about? I mean, there are names in history that we just cannot forget that actually did something against us, against the country, against our people, against us personally. Hang on a second. Okay, try this one. How about Judas? Judas versus Christ. Judas was one of the 12 disciples of Christ's 12. Yeah, he had some misgivings. He turned in Christ. He got himself brutalized, beaten, tossed out. He hangs himself because he can't deal with it. He turned his best friend and savior over to the Roman government. Unfortunately, what Christ was made for in the first place was being a scapegoat, but just to help us out with our own problems. Still, he was made into a scapegoat. Benedict Arnold, U.S. history, U.S. military, turncoat, goes over to the other side, to the British. We hang his ass. Nobody wants to talk about him. We can't talk about these failures because we're afraid there's going to be too many. Copycats out there. I hate to tell you something, but we already got the copycats out there. They're already in makings already. They're brewing even as we speak. And it doesn't matter if we keep the identities of the murderers of our current time silent. They'll still pop out. We'll still know them. We still have to learn about them in history books down the road. We still have to know about the nut jobs coming out doing some mass murders. Columbine killings. Two teenagers coming on there. We don't even know who the hell the names are. Actually, I forgot about those. Or the one nut job who wanted to kill people at a theatrical first. I think it was Batman or something out in Colorado. Goes in a movie theater and still kills people left and right because of some kind of theatrical release. They released the guy's name on that one. But because we've had so many things happening in the past, and I'm getting CRS half the time in the first place, it's like some of this stuff is slipping out, and it's a shame. Because we need to know this stuff. Why? We don't forget. But people want to forget. They don't want to know about the horrible things that are happening these days. They want to know about the happier things. They don't want to know about the rotten things. Why not? The rotten things are still part of what's happening to us right now. Why do you think people don't want to talk about mental health? I mean, they keep saying this thing on the news every so often. They're posting it out there on social media, but you don't hear a deep-seated discussion over the damn shit. It's like the ultimate evil out there is what's happening inside our heads, the time bomb that's still ticking. I put that out there already. I already put out that we already have an emotional tsunami going on because we have triggers. The triggers are anything that our five senses can actually pick up, not to mention our own memories can be such a thing. Our five senses, once we got that figured out of what the triggers are, theoretically we're supposed to avoid them, right? No, we need to learn techniques on how to mitigate the damage because they're going to be they've already started the process already, and you never know it until the process is already going. Then you're like, damn, why didn't I figure that shit out? These guys learning all this shit. I mean, this one young kid, he's in his teens. He goes into a store and murders people. Why? Because of a white race theory? No, because I think our kid was already mentally unstable in the first place. Why else would he be buying that shit in the first place? Why? He was already out of it. And they couldn't even figure that shit out? His parents couldn't even figure that shit out? Did the guy already gone through psychological things? They got the guy. They got him in prison. I mean, he's going through trial. And how many of us out there are counting down until we actually do something that stupid? That's scary, isn't it? And it should be. I mean, come on. You want to talk about a political grandstanding schedule at this point over here of one crazy lunatic who's got our absolute complete attention by killing people left and right because he thinks he can. The ultimate screwball with the most mental health issues ever. Vladimir Putin. Shall we say his name in effigy? Vladimir goes across the country supporters over here with his own tanks, and he wants to liberate fascism. Anything regarding Nazism. He's going to install his own rule. He's going to save these people by having his troops kill people. Where's the logic in this? Where's the sanity? A lot of people have been trying to figure this asshole out for decades. Hell, they've been trying to figure out the Soviet Union for decades as well. All you gotta do is read some of their books and see how fucked up they are in the first place. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying it about Russia. Because anybody with that kind of a depressive situation over here, shit, come on. Even the founding fathers of psychiatry and psychology would be having a field day over Russia and their mentality. Or we go back further in time in different epochs. It's our own egos running amok. It's our own demons in here running amok. And they're out. Controlling the limbs. Controlling our voices. Controlling our bodies. We're running amok, 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 amok. Does this frighten you? Does this scare you? Does this rattle your cage? On a weekend that we have called Memorial Weekend. Memorial Day is coming up on Monday. The actual day where we actually celebrate the fallen soldiers who have went over to different countries, even in our own country, and fought and bled over idealism, over our own damn egos, our own pride, our own stupidity. our own mental health illness, whatever the reason was called, they got put into combat. They had to fire their guns. They had to fire their weapons. Maybe some of them actually didn't, and they died in the wayside. Either way, we still had to honor them because that's what we do for our military, at least for theoretically. But for the ones who have disgraced the country, forget them. You guys are nuts. You guys are discarded. We kick your ass to the streets. Welcome, homeless. Oh, by the way, we get to kick you further. Especially if you happen to go to any more fire stations and you want to confiscate them for a night or two. You're going to be finding out that there's a certain fire station out in Silver Lake that doesn't like that because they've got enough encampments of the homeless in the area. But it always takes one extreme nut job to really ruin the reputation of everybody else. But everybody else is still trying to struggle to survive. How else are they supposed to survive? Nobody gives them a shot. Nobody cares. We got these politicians saying, well, we got 400 and 500 bedroom. That's not enough, damn it. We need 10,000, 20,000. We need 100,000 capacity. And in order to do that, we need the land space. We need the resources for it, dwindling as they are. We need to get these people either put into a shelter. I got it. Let's build a prison. Let's build another prison. We can make it 10,000 cells. We can make it about 10,000 bed cells in there. Then we can house the homeless people in there and people off the streets. They haven't done anything, but what the hell? Let's get them off the streets. Let's incarcerate every one of them on the grounds that they are homeless, on the grounds that they are nobodies. So let's get bivouac tents or something like that going on, temporaries or permanents. They say this is supposed to be Mental Health Month, Mental Illness Month. Speaking of which, Evil Knievel again. Anyway. Am I one of the crazy ones? Yeah, I am. I self-diagnosed myself as such, not proudly. I've already got enough aches and pains in my body right now as it is for the physical stuff, but for the mental stuff, it's been ongoing for a hell of a long while. Some people actually made the observation in their poems and in their ruminations regarding how things are supposed to be viewed as regarding mental health. At times, they're pretty accurate in their descriptions of what we go through. But other things, how we're supposed to be having happier thoughts and happier feelings on how to deal with life. I hate to tell you something, but that ain't happening. That's not happening. Someone else's Mickey Mouse version of what life is supposed to be is not what I had gone through myself. But for the amount of crap I've been through, I've also had some fun times with my family as well. Now, yes, I'm bringing it back into this because it's important for me to talk about them. See, my family, I grieve and mourn like crazy right now, today, tonight, tomorrow. They died yesterday, as in 2013 for my mother and my brother, 2018. I post that, I talk about it, I reminisce. It's the only thing I can do. Sometimes the reminiscing helps, and other times it puts me into something of the worst things to feel. And it takes another nudge for me to start crying all over again. I miss them that badly. I miss them that badly because I have a hell of a lot of love for them still left. And that's not going to be expressed enough in this lifetime. Back then, it was a struggle. It was a struggle just to be. And I've talked about my struggles. I talked about how screwed up that was. It's not that easy. Side note, remember when I talked to you about CRS? Can't remember shit. Sometimes the brain will slip into a different gear, and I'm talking about something I haven't even discussed or even thought about. Well, it's been happening right in front of you. Some of the things I wanted to talk about, I can't talk about because I got the CRS kicking me in the ass again, trying to tell me that some things are just not worthy talking about. But that's all right. They'll be discussed at another time, at another recording. This was supposed to be about memorials, and yet I talked about mental health. This is supposed to be the month for mental health, and yet I'm supposed to be talking about soldiers and remembering them as they fell for their country. More than one way. And the problem is, sometimes I wished I hadn't. But we have to memorialize them. Remember them. The only thing I remember is that a month like this is for mental health. And we're memorializing soldiers who have fallen for mental health. Because we all had to be crazy enough and egomaniac enough to form the wars necessary for them to die for. And that's not talked enough about. Not nearly enough.